It was late last night when the pigs entered the dreaded shed. Every gun was slowly trotted off and hidden away under hay.
Hi Steven.
Hello.
So you're an illustrator and writer.
Yes.
What influenced you to become that?
Probably when I was a teenager. With the writing, I've always been into music and lyrics, and I think in my head I thought I could start a band and be a lyricist, but it sort of turned into poetry. So I sort of concentrate more on poetry. With the drawings, illustrations, I've always drawn from my nose that big. So yeah, my life hasn't changed since I was about 5.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's cool.
Which is good, yeah. And the sheep finally cut free from the fences that fenced them in, following one another over to where the light had just gone out.
So what type of stuff do you draw and write about?
I write and draw about life and people, and I also write about animal rights and inject that into both. Not massively, but it's there a lot. I've just completed a graphic novel, and there's a section in the middle which is all about modern life and corruption and money and the way we treat animals and the way we treat the earth as well, and how they all go hand in hand as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's some pretty strong images in there as well.
Do you think that's a good way to maybe get people to think about the issues of the world and to connect with it?
I think it's really powerful when you think about things like the Smiths, for example, in the 80s, when sort of no young people sort of was aware of being vegetarian and the way animals were being treated, and then suddenly you've got a song like Meat is Murder, which I was vegetarian, the impact of that is just reaching a whole new audience.
Yeah.
So I think things like poetry, music, graphic novels, comics, films, I think when they touch on being vegetarian, being vegan, how poorly animals are treated, then I think that's really, really, really powerful.
Yeah.
I know how that's affected me, so I know how that will affect others as well. Yeah. They studied the piles of weapons and shivered with vivid images of families bleating. They were all silent in their manoeuvre except for the lowing of a signal.
You've just finished your graphic novel.
Yes.
Maybe tell us a bit more about what it's about.
The graphic novel's called Puzzles (David), and it's about one character, David, and his. It's all about reincarnation. So it's told through 4 time zones of his 4 different lives. There's the birth of man, and then there's art versus religion, and then modern times, and then the wall at West Bank. And so in each chapter, David encounters something that challenges him, and it's how he reacts to that goes on into the next chapter as well. It's really difficult. I don't want to give too much away.
Yeah.
The cattle swished air rifles with their tails, quietly splashing them into the river, and the horses trampled the knives so that they resembled nothing of terror. And this all happened at the same time all over the world, in every major city, tiny town, and unknown village. But yeah, one character and how he reacts to life and all of everything that life throws at him, how he deals with that. Yeah.
Is that symbolic to how you deal with your life?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think I've shown it to friends, and they've spotted me through. Yeah, especially the sections which are about art and your relationship with nature and your relationships with animals, and but I think artists, they can't help but inject some of themselves into their art, which is good. People then attach themselves to that as well. Yeah. By the morning, the forever farmed had gathered at all doorsteps and yards. They were calm in their minds, but they shook with confrontation.
Do you think it's important for people to have more art in their lives?
Yeah, I do, because I think art it's instant for people. Like poetry, I think, books are great, but I think a lot of books put a lot of people off, whereas I'm not knocking books at all, I love books. But I think with art, it's it's instant. You have an instant reaction, emotional reaction to it, and you can relate to it straight away. So I think it's very important. I know for me personally, I wouldn't be here today without art, and not just art, but everything that comes under art. So music and film and song, and I think it's incredibly important, especially for the things that we're talking about today. Like I said earlier about the lyrics of the Smiths, that you hear that within 4 minutes, your whole world and how you look at the world could be changed. You know? Whereas, like I was saying about books, they work the same, but it's a longer process. But with song and poetry and visual arts, it's there straight away. I love that. I'm addicted to that. Within a breath, they want to reclaim their lives and silently call for respect. Dropped in a second, the trees stood still as the breeze retreated, and the flies was the only sound to be heard for miles around.
So, going on about maybe vegan outreach, maybe people should invest in maybe artwork and maybe write more songs about veganism.
Yeah. I think. I personally think that being vegan is very. I think it's very punk, because you're rejecting all of these things that you've been told by the meat industry, by money people. You have to do everything yourself, so you have to research into what will keep you alive. So I think when artists or singers, I think when they touch on those subjects, people find that really attractive and really inspiring as well. I'm just thinking how if I see that in a painting, instantly excites me, and I want to know about the artist and their belief system. I think art is incredibly important, especially with London changing as well. More and more. I've got a friend who lost his art studio because it was being turned into luxury flats. So I think there needs to be a push of artists being not confrontational, but saying this is actually what's going on in the world, not lovely glass-fronted buildings that we've been surrounded with.
Let's have a scoop. Where are the art studios?
Where are the art studios? But there's art here. There's people connecting. There's grass and there's trees. So that's what's important. And it's good to see that in. Going back to your question, it's good to see that in art. So. And there stood man, with no natural defence except for his hands. He's lost control. Nothing left to do but to tightly press his palms together.
So you mentioned your belief system. So what is that? What's your belief system?
My belief system. I think it's
I think it is rejecting things that I've been led to believe that if you don't drink milk, then all your bones will turn to mush. You wouldn't be able. You'll have no energy if you don't eat. If you don't eat a steak, then you won't get all the proteins that you need, which we know that's complete rubbish. And so I think, like I said earlier, I think being vegan is it is very punk, and it's very confrontational without you having to do anything. I like that as soon as you say to someone you're a vegan, it automatically, you can see all their defences go up, and they're like, I'm being challenged of why I eat meat, and there's not that many arguments to eating meat now. I think people are very switched on now, and so I think it's funny when I say to people, I'm a vegan, and they suddenly go into the overdrive of, what would you do if there was an apocalypse? And, what would you eat? And I always say I'd eat them before I'd even touch an animal.
Yeah.
I like that I have my only relationship with animals, and with the earth as well, is respect, and not wanting to. It's something that animals look to us for protection, and to feed them, look after them, or just to leave them alone. And I still find it bizarre that if we get hungry, something has to die.
Yeah.
It's that simple. It's really strange when you sit and think about it. And, something that treasure its life as much as we treasure ours. It's like someone coming over here now and destroying both of us just because they're a little bit hungry. Yeah, it's. I find it bizarre.
Yeah.
Confused, whimpering, pleading, and careful with his words. How can he now justify all the years of pain, humiliation, and hurt?
So what influenced you to become vegan?
I have. I've been vegetarian for around 13 years, and I have a condition called ME, chronic fatigue syndrome, and I heard that the symptoms can be eased by diet, and so I started to look into becoming vegan. But then because I'd been taught that without milk and cheese and eggs, your body would just give up. And then I saw that there was slowly like cage fighters in America who were, on plant-based diets, and seeing them, their muscles and their strength and their stamina, and it really blew me away. And so I started to look into a vegan diet. And I've got a friend who was vegan for years, so he was giving me suggestions of what I should and shouldn't do, and the Vegan Society as well. I had an online mentor who
cool.
gave me suggestions and things I should and shouldn't eat. I had a lot of support, so that helped. I mean, my partner was very supportive, and my friends, they didn't really question it. They were I don't know, they're really switched on and really curious as well. So a lot of my friends will cook vegan meals. My partner's vegetarian, but will still cook vegan meals, and they'll go to vegan restaurants, or they're quite supportive if I go somewhere where there's meat, and they're very there's a nice sort of respect going on. So I think it helps if you want to change your diet to have, a good support system.
Yeah.
I know it helped me loads. So no one's, challenged me greatly. They do in a jokey way, but I give them the I'll eat you before I eat anyone else.
On one knee and then falling onto two, he crawled and joined the others lined up on parade.
Do you have any tips for people that want to go vegan?
Just research into making sure you have your protein, and actually challenging yourself as well. I think I exposed myself in the beginning to lots of awful videos of those secret filmings inside dairy farms and behind the scenes at McDonald's and Murder King. And that was just confirmation of why you're doing something, and that you don't want to be part of that. So I exposed myself to a lot of videos, but also I researched into what I need in terms of protein and calcium and where I could get those from. And it is really simple things like broccoli and soy milk. Sometimes that's all you need.
Yeah.
But stuff like everyone was freaking out because I wasn't eating cheese, and I discovered avocado and things like so my diet was changing, but it was also challenging me to quinoa. I'd never even quincy. It's like, what's quinoa? And so my partner was very good at bringing all these different things into the house, and we were cooking them and seeing what the effects were. And I have to say the effects on my symptoms, they've been eased since. I find I have because with chronic fatigue syndrome, you have like a pocket of energy, and so you have to be very careful of doing too much or too little. You have to keep this sort of pocket of this sort of thread of energy going, and it's been good of keeping that quite steady. I've been able to do more, and if I do have a relapse, then it's not as massive. They used to last weeks, but it's a couple of days where I need to lay on the sofa and just be. Also, colds. If I get a cold, it lasts a couple of days and then it's gone. I don't seem to get the flu, or I don't seem to get runny noses and things like that. So I think, not just the animal rights issue, but the sort of health benefits of being vegan are incredible. Yeah. And for your weight as well. It's got rid of my muffin tops.
That's cool. Thank you, Steven.
And then a hoof pulled the trigger with the help of a wing. Now on the land, the animals were king.